Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Map Making with Sparks. We are once again working on Foxy Boxes today. How y'all doing? In today's episode, we are going to be working on some modelling, just to change things up a little bit. We're going to be modelling out the room that we built the cutscene for last episode. I don't particularly like modelling, but that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this game, to get better at things that I'm crap at. We'll also be using a couple of models that have been pre-made by other people, which will be nice. So before we do that, though, I want to talk a bit about last episode. I'd like to thank Noodle Soup or Alex for making his half of that video. I hope you all enjoyed the extra long special episode there. And I do realise that I never showed off how many command blocks this took in the end. That cutscene took this many command blocks. That's quite a lot of command blocks because it's quite a long scene. And by long, I mean fairly short, all things considered. A lot of this top line is in fact not used. I think it ends just over here. So this top line is a little bit not used. But after I made this video, several people pointed out in the comments that you can get around this by using the first method I showed, where you teleport relative coordinates instead of absolute, an entity like an armor stand or an area effect cloud, and then teleport the player to that. And I had a major facepalm because I knew that, or I did know that, and I completely forgot about it. And that would definitely make this whole cutscene a lot smaller. So yeah, that would have been potentially very time-saving. However, this is, according to my current script for this game, pretty much the only cutscene. There may be one, I think there's going to be one part of one other cutscene that has a little bit of third-person camera view, but all of the rest is going to be filmed first-person from the perspective of Raposa as the player. Or that's the plan currently, which means that we will not be having sort of smooth translational stuff anyway, which means relative translation will be less useful. So I'm going to leave it like this for now, because it doesn't really matter too much, and we can always come back and fix this at a later date if we find that it's necessary. But that's definitely something to bear in mind. You can relatively teleport something that can't move around by itself, and then teleport the player to that. The player will inherit the entity's motion. So without further ado, let's get down to some model stuff. Or, you know what, we could do something completely different. I realised that we've done modelling episodes before, and I probably won't be doing any more because there's not really much I can show you guys, because it's just me trying to work out what the heck I'm doing. I added some cabinets. These were made by Sibsib98? Sibsib98? Sibsib92. I knew it was one of those. It was in the 90s. High to low 90s. Anyway, so yeah, I did this in a live stream. We've got some cabinets. I will continue adding models, but more in my own time than anything. No, instead today, we are going to go to a different thing. We're going to be doing some experimenting with sound. Oh yeah. By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed my my parody song to test the lip syncing. It seemed to work pretty well. We did go over the lip syncing system in the previous episode entitled La La La, if any of you are looking for it in the playlist. But today, new area, new randomly coloured square in the Foxy Boxes command area. Sounds. We're going to work on sounds because Noodle Soup contacted me today, or yesterday, saying that he'd had this idea. There are some games out there that have music which changes depending on where the player is, or what the player is doing, or what the player can see. So it's an ongoing piece of music, but different layers of it show depending on where you are. I think this has been done in quite a few games, but I'd like to play around with what we can do with that for Foxy Boxes, whether it's feasible, how well it would work, and just experimenting to see whether it's possible in Minecraft. So we are going to be working on that. So I'm just going to go and import the sounds that he sent me as files, and then I'll get back to you. Aha! Okay, so this is what he's sent us. We have things. So you push the buttons, and there are different levels and sound things. So, for example, we could do like this one. different levels of stuff go over the top, you know how it is. And obviously if you mistime everything, then bad things happen, but yeah, so there's different sound files, and we're going to try mixing them together where the sound kind of changes depending on where we are or what we do. It's kind of the idea here. So the first thing we need to do, it's quite loud actually, I can't move away from it either, I set it to be like a really wide radius to play the sound. Finally worked out how to do that. First thing we need to do is control the beat, because our command blocks are going to need to know when the beat is, so that any new tracks that start happen on time. So I'm going to make a little control unit that I'm going to call the beat master, the beatkeeper, kind of like a beekeeper, but it keeps the beat. Not beets like the fruit or the vegetable, the beat. Yeah, hang on. Actually, you know what? Just for a change, because he actually created a full version of this tune as well, I'm going to just sort of speed up me placing a load of command blocks, and you can have a listen to what it sounds like all put together. I think that sounds really good. He did this on a train in an hour, and I really like it. I don't know if we're going to use it for Foxy Boxes or not, but I'll let you guys give me your opinion in the comments. Yep. Okay, so here we go. So this is using the same time signature as this music. We worked out, basically, because redstone command blocks in Minecraft works at a 20th of a second, 20 times a second, we found a time signature which worked, that was divisible by that. So we went with 150 BPM, which is 8 ticks per beat. So this is our 8 tick per beat, our 1 beat output pulse. We've got our 2 here, that puts us every 2 beats. This one does every 4, and this one does every 8. So we've got a different combination of sort of pulse speeds that are calculated through this in a fairly inefficient way, but is probably fine. So every beat this line runs and works out what to pull. So for example, if we broke down, like triggered an avalanche in a level somewhere, maybe like you walk up to an edge, and the avalanche had music which fitted to the 8-beat time, our avalanche could sort of tell it to wait for the 8-beat before triggering. So, you know, potentially there's a delay, And we can get around that by using shorter delay times, like a 4-beat fitting clock time, if that makes sense. So, yeah, we might actually need longer times than this as well, in which case we'd have to either build that into this and have the beat counter go up to like 17 instead of 7, 15, up to 15 instead of 7, like 16 beat, or just have a double counter built into whatever needs to run that slow. Out of interest, what happens if we put the I think all of these are actually longer than 8 beats. Let's try the drums. This may be hideously noisy. Let's just find out what happens. Essentially, I think this is probably a 16-beat track. But you can see how they're lining up and they're always being played at the right time. It's kind of cool. Alright, so 1.12 is out, so that's a thing. I'm still in 1.11. I started this episode in 1.11, so damn it, I'm finishing in it. After I've done this, I will have to do a backup and find out what's broken. Hopefully nothing much, it's just new blocks, which is great for Foxy Boxes actually, because we need a lot of block types for all of the different textures for all the different planets. So that's kind of good, I'm happy about that. So I've just changed out how this system works because, as I was saying earlier, we're going to need longer timings than 8 beats, and it was just getting longer and longer. So before, I was going, for the 2-beat one, I was going, is the beat 0? If so, do a beat. Is the beat 2? If so, do a beat. If the beat is 4, do a beat. And it was getting longer and longer and longer as I was extending the beat count. So instead, the beat count is no longer going between 0 and 7. It's just constantly counting up, which is basically how long the song has been going for. We can set that back to 0 if we want to, if we need to calculate from that. But what I'm doing now instead is using modulus. So this N scoreboard, this number scoreboard, they're just users whose name is their number. So what I can do is basically repeat these 3 sets of command blocks for every instance that I want. So what you do first is you set controller's N score to the beat, and my neighbor has got a drill out. Oh, okay, I'm going to briefly explain this while he's drilling so that I can replicate it while he's drilling so we can get back onto this when the drilling is done. Okay, so we set the control armor stand's N score to the beat, then we do a modulus on the number 2 in this case. So this is the user named 2 whose score is 2. So we basically then check if it's 0, and if it's 0, you can see it oscillating between 1 and 0 here. Then we execute on the tag 2 armor stand to pulse. So we do exactly this, we just copy this 3 times and we use the users 4, 8, 16, etc. instead of 2 to get the different moduluses, and I will now go do that off camera while the drilling finishes. Alright, so I've copied that across and I've got all the different instances of the pulsing going, and I've connected some of these tune blocks to this. And it kind of works, but a really, really weird thing is happening. I'm going to play this and you'll be able to see what's happening. So I'm going to turn this back on. And the drums should start first. Actually, all 3 might start at once. Yeah, there we go. So there's the drums. That's great. This light is going to flash on the next beat, these 2 here. So we're going to have the tune come in. There we go. And then the next double iteration, as in not that one, but this one, this tune here is going to start. There we go. So all 3 tunes are playing right now. That's great. This is exactly what we want. But now things get a little weird. Or last time I tried this, it did. So the lights are going to keep flashing in the right order. But you saw that the light for the drums just flashed there, but the drums have stopped. There's no error message in the command block. It says that it played the tune for us. Now this one should play here. There, so now the main chords are still going, but the drums failed to play. So now the main tune, the chords have failed. Sorry, no, it's the drums that's causing the problems. The light is flashing, the command block is getting powered, but it's not playing the drums, and now this one here has failed, even though the light flashed. So there's some kind of play sound issue going on here, which is kind of annoying because this needs to be reliable, and I don't know what the problem is here. Other than that, it sounds amazing. Like, really cool tune. We can kind of mix the sounds together here, which is quite nice. But see here, this time, all three of them were supposed to go, and only this one played the sound. But you can see it says played sound sync to drums. There's no issue there. Also, looking in command blocks completely breaks it, because the sound keeps playing, but the redstone stops. So you get kind of sound overrides and stuff. So definitely don't want the player to be looking inside a GUI while using this system, or any kind of GUI that freezes the game. Yeah, this is very unexpected. I've not heard anybody run into this problem before. I don't understand what the problem is. Okay, so I've restarted the system, and I've actually replaced the set block commands from in here with so the lights won't turn on anymore, but the play sound is directly in this command block here now. So we should be able to... Okay, so we're still seeing the same problem. It's not the fact that the redstone block and the repeater powering this is causing a problem. The play sound just isn't being registered by us. I wonder if there's a certain number of sounds or a certain volume of sounds that that's causing this issue. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's kind of nice, it sort of randomizes the track a little bit, but it's not what we want. Like, the drums should be playing constantly here. Okay, so this is potentially a really big issue with this idea. I'm very disappointed this is happening. I wonder if there are things I can do to avoid it. It feels like there might be. I'm going to talk to a couple of people, a couple of other map makers who maybe have a bit more experience with play sound than I do. Maybe if I lower the volume or the range of the sound, that could help. I'm not entirely sure what is causing this, but I'll talk to a few people. If you think you might have a suggestion or know what's happening, let me know. But just in the interest of actually getting some of the other aspects of this done this episode, I think we're going to ignore that this is happening for the moment and just look at some of the other aspects of things we can do with this. Behold the majestic cave. Okay, so this is a cave. This is an area in the game where when the person walks through the level, we want the music to change in some way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the noise track, this one here, which is used in parts of the level. We're going to have that play only if we are in the cave or near the cave. So there's a couple of little things we can do here. So first of all, we need to work out if the player is in the cave. There's a few ways we can do this. We can check their proximity to an armor stand. We can check whether they're in a certain DX, DY, DZ, that kind of thing, and act accordingly. So what I'm going to do just for this test is I'm going to create an armor stand that sits in here and looks for nearby players. Alright, so obviously this would be hidden under the ground, but we have a little armor stand here called cave, and it tests whenever it's got the tag 8 beat. So every 8th beat it will trigger this line here below it. It's going to test for a player within 5 blocks of itself, and if it finds that on this conditional line, it will play the noise sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll go with that because ideally we want this sound to fade in. So let's just test this for now. We're gonna turn this sound back on and see if this works. Alright, so I think we've passed 8 beats, no cave sound, let's go in. Yeah, look at that. So now the noise sound is playing because we're in the cave. Should keep playing while we're in here. Even if everything else stops because of this weird bug. And then when we leave the cave, at the end of the sound, it stops. Awesome. So what we can do now is we can change the range on this sound file so that it only plays to us if we're nearby. I think this is the radius here. Actually, let's take a proper look at the play sound a second here, the play sound value. Sound source player XYZ volume pitch min volume. So the volume, which I'm guessing is the range it can be heard of, if we make that 5 blocks, the pitch can be 1, and then the minimum volume could be... Let's just leave it at 1 and see what happens here. So I'm hoping when we leave the cave, whoop, the sound will fade out. Okay, maybe the minimum volume needs to be 0. Okay, it looks like the sound is basically just not... It's not in blocks, it's not measured in blocks. If I set it to 1, we get that fade out. I think it's that 16... I think what it's doing is it's 1 block from the source, and then 16 blocks from there to fade out. I think that's what's happening. If we change this to 1, what happens? Just give it a sec. Okay. I'm gonna turn these sounds off. So we've just got the drum now, and the drill. There's that sound. Kind of fades out when we get over here. I think... Yeah, I mean... It kind of works. Can we make this a lower number? Okay, so here we have a jumping puzzle that is linked to the beat of the music. Oop, I'm in the cave. Using another beat output armor stand here. So there's a jumping puzzle, and they have a radius-based sound. So whoop, the sound only plays when you're near them, kind of thing. This is just a note block noise, but it kind of illustrates what could be done. Also, it seems to be slightly out of time, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so this is an example of the kind of thing you could do to make the level kind of work with the music, and to have sounds that are linked to that movement as well. And they'll only play if the player can see them or is interacting with them or is near them, but would add to the tune kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of the sort of thing that I wanted to try and play around with. We've got kind of 3 different actions here. Sort of movement-based sound, beat-based movement, and location-based movement, music. We've got some interesting stuff here. We still have this very weird bug with the sound. I'm going to look into this some more for the next episode, but I hope you enjoyed this. It's been very interesting, actually. I've never seen anything like this done in Minecraft before, so it's been really fun trying to work out how to do it. And sort of even, you know, running into the problems is still interesting. So I hope that you find this interesting. Hope you like the music. Let me know what you think of the music, because Noodle Soup does read the comments. So if you want to say anything to him, put it there. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.